Hey everyone, my name is Cody Ross and I'm with Capital Entrepreneurs here hosting the Startup Showcase. Really excited for the show we have for you. I have a really promising up and coming company by the name of Boosted Shoes. Before we get into the Q&A though, we're going to show you their pitch video. So please enjoy this video. After the video, we'll have myself and the two co-founders coming in to do a little digging into how they came about, what they're up to, and what's in store for the future. So check out this video and I'll see you in a couple minutes.
Hi, I'm Kit, and I'm the co-founder of Boosted Chews, which are caffeinated chocolate chews. My friend Aditya and I started this company in November of 2019, and we are both engineers at UW-Madison who will graduate in 2021. We have worked on multiple startups in the past and are pretty entrenched in the Madison entrepreneurial community. So about 65% of all Americans drink at least a cup of coffee every single day. This causes a lot of shared problems, including wait times for their retail coffee, as well as exorbitant prices as you buy a cup of coffee every single day for a year. You also run into the inconvenience of having to carry around a cup or a thermos of coffee, and with carelessness, you might accidentally spill that around and end your day with a lot of damage to your property, which is why we created a new solution which we call Boosted Chews. They're bite-sized caffeinated chocolate chews that are designed to be portable, convenient, and give you the ability to choose how much caffeine you want to take and when you want to take it. We offer Boosted Chews in 4 flavors: original, mint, hazelnut crunch, and mocha. And they come in packs of either 2 cups of coffee worth of caffeine or 4 cups of coffee. We sell them throughout the nation via our e-commerce platform, as well as a couple stores in person in the Madison area. So a little bit about the functional confectionery market, and specifically for us, the caffeine market. Awake Chocolate was a brand out of Canada which makes caffeinated candy bars, and in the early teens, they started to expand out of Canada and into the US, targeting college campuses. Since then, there have been a lot of other caffeinated products that have emerged throughout the US, but none of them quite have the reach or the staying power in the Midwest. So we intend to be that player in the market. We'd also like to push the functional confectionery market as a whole, as it's pretty new and people have a lot of benefits that they could take from the entire market, such as different ways to consume their caffeine and more accessibility and quality of life options so that they have the ability to choose how they want to be living their life. Of course, at the end of the day, for us, it's all about our customers, and we're happy to let you know that we have had a lot of positive feedback from our months of selling. And we also continue to listen to our customers as we grow our product very closely, and we'll make sure that we respond to their needs. After 6 months of selling, we have generated a great amount of traction via primarily our e-commerce website, which we drive most of our traffic to. We have a customer retention rate of 25%, and this is all driven by organic sales that we make via our social media, email blasts, our in-person marketing via brand awareness at some retail stores, as well as publications in the Madison area and beyond. And this is all during quarantine, which we've had to make sure that we pivoted around, but have successfully worked out some of our kinks. Our revenue model is primarily through e-commerce purchases, and so this is via our online website, boostedchews.com. We've also started to offer a subscribe and save model where you can save up to 15 to 20% depending on the options you choose. We also use local businesses as another smaller revenue stream and a way to beachhead our brand at locations for the locals to see the product in person. And in the future, we intend to target distributors to sell our products to their big box retail stores as well as online wholesale. Our target audience is primarily the on-the-go young professional, which you can find a lot at the college campuses and young office spaces. So we are well positioned as those kinds of people ourselves to directly message and find these kinds of people. The market size of the coffee industry is about $85 billion, And since they have a lot of the problems that Boosted Chews is able to solve, we are able to have a lot of overlap with this industry. But we're also looking at the adjacent CBD confectionery industry, which is another functional confectionery that we may be looking at as we look into the future. Next, we are looking to raise funds for our co-manufacturing so that we can scale up our supply chain, as well as expand onto new campuses via student ambassador programs and fundraisers partnering with local organizations on Greek life. We also want to grow from simply a caffeine industry into more functional confectionery, such as CBD, as I previously mentioned, vegan vitamins, and more. We're really excited by all of the traction that we've generated, and we are looking forward to the future and to see what we'll be able to accomplish. Thank you for listening.
Awesome, guys. I hope you guys, all that are viewing, enjoyed that short pitch from Boosted Chews. Happy to have Kit and Aditya here. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well.
Doing well.
Good, good. We appreciate you coming on and telling us about your company and what's in store. Kind of how this will go. We want to get into the background of who you guys are, talk about the company, some of the branding, the industry, the market that you guys are looking to expand in, as you alluded to in the pitch, and then talk about what the future holds for Boosted Chews. So I guess right off the bat, I'd ask, where are you guys from and how did you guys meet?
Yeah. So I am originally from Minnesota, a little bit south of the Twin Cities.
I'm originally from India. Then I moved to Dubai, where I live currently, and then I'm here for college.
Oh, awesome, guys. Well,
Yeah.
So did you guys obviously didn't know each other before, starting this endeavor or before you guys got to school?
Yeah, so we actually lived on the same floor freshman year, literally across the hall from each other. And we knew of each other, but we didn't really talk until about like last year or so. And we were kind of working on like other things together, and then figured out might as well start a company.
Very, very cool. Very cool. So, in terms of like, obviously, Capital Entrepreneurs, I have to plug them. Check it out in the description. We're an organization here that focuses on startups, but we're prideful about the Madison area. And what really, drew you guys to coming to the University of Wisconsin Madison? What was the appeal, I guess, so to speak?
Yeah, for me personally, it still had that sort of like Midwest feel of college while not being like right close to home, since I had been like up in like the universities around Minnesota like a lot. So I wanted to experience something new, like as a stepping stone into like sort of the next phase of my life. And there's a lot of draws to Madison as well, between like the entrepreneurial space as well as the academics that I was originally looking at as well.
Awesome. What about you, Aditya?
Yeah. So I study chemical engineering here, and obviously we're a top school in that field. So it was it was basically a no-brainer. But also the Madison entrepreneurial ecosystem, it's been growing at the Midwest specifically and here, and that's also something that drew me to Madison.
Awesome. So, on the topic of entrepreneurship and, the startup ecosystem that's been brewing here in Madison, is this your first endeavor? Have you guys done other startups before? What is kind of your history? And I guess what made you take the leap into starting a company together?
So we both worked on various startups in the past. Personally, I have interned at some like biotech as well as like just a regular like tech company here on campus. But the thing that really brought me into taking the leap to making a company myself with Adi was sort of just really joining Transcend UW. Just a plug as well. It's an organization on the UW Madison campus where we're really working to encourage student entrepreneurs to like pursue their passions, as well as host a competition at the end of the year, which is basically Shark Tank for students. And so becoming involved in Transcend really inspired me to do something myself.
Awesome. What about you, Aditya?
Yeah, I co-founded a different startup about a year and a half ago that was more edutech related. So that was my first deep dive into entrepreneurship. But obviously, being involved with Transcend and seeing all of these other guys come up with these ideas and getting invested in the ecosystem and building that network obviously made me want to do it myself.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And before we get into, I would say, some of the details around your business and the market and whatnot, trying to get even a little bit more personal from your perspective, do you guys have any entrepreneurial inspirations that really were, I know kids who play sports have posters of guys on the wall. Did you guys have any people like the Steve Jobs of the world that truly inspired you to kind of eventually come down this path?
For me personally, it was sort of the previous competitors in Transcend that I really looked at and I was like, wow, like
Nice.
somebody who went to like this school and like I was like could have been in classes with them, like they're out here doing all these things and like making it big, and I realized that like it's on you to like figure out what you want to do and how to get there.
Yes.
Yep. Similar answer to that, just being able to see people and relate to the ones that actually went here and also did it. But I think all time, I kind of listen to Gary Vee every single day.
Nice.
So yeah, so that's a big one. Yep.
Very cool. Very cool. So getting into more of like the business aspects, this question will maybe kind of segue us into your business, but what really sparked your interest into the functional confectionery market?
For me personally, I've always been very interested in cooking and like figuring out new flavors and developing like just recipes and things. It's pretty similar to like what I'm going to school for, which is just like biosystems engineering.
Yeah.
So a lot of like overlap on just experimenting with stuff. So when we were kind of figuring out how to get a market locked down for Boosted Chews, before we had known that it was going to be called Boosted Chews, we were just kind of going through our like talents and our skills and just figured it out from there.
Very cool. You, Aditya?
Yeah, pretty similar stuff. I was studying chemical engineering. It's still related to what I'm doing in the food science sector, but I think what we were more interested in was the caffeine market originally, and I think from our research that we did and the product development we did, we kind of landed on confectionery market in the end.
Nice, nice. Well, I mean, you guys are doing a great job. I want to reiterate that it's very cool to see you guys, bringing such excitement to the Madison ecosystem. And as the viewers out there, you guys saw in the video, the branding is really captivating. It's something that us at Capital Entrepreneurs have been really impressed with, and so very very cool to see that. But I guess getting into the package, not what's on the outside of the package. And don't give away any like trade secrets or anything, but what's the general process of how you guys make these things? Is there, something you can share? Obviously, I don't want you to give away anything.
Yeah, I mean, when we started making these, we went through iterations and iterations of them, about I think 15. But currently, the way we do it is there's a place called Feed Kitchens up the Isthmus in Madison. It's a commercial co-shared kitchen facility. It's where a lot of the food carts here actually make their food. So yeah, we currently go in there and make it ourselves on the weekends. Just
Oh
big
wow,
batches of that. Yep,
that's
it's
awesome.
it's pretty fun, but a lot of work, but fun.
So, as it pertains to now the branding aspect,
Right.
I guess what was that process like? Because as I said, it's very impressive, and I know people can spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of dollars on packaging and design, and brand identity. What kind of went into that? Because I think it would maybe help some of the aspiring entrepreneurs out there to kind of understand a process, and obviously things evolve, but how did it come to be where it is right now, I guess you could say?
Yeah. So how we actually started it was Adi was kind of messing around on a like online logo maker, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And we sort of got inspired by a couple designs that came out of that. So our total spend on our logo design has been $5 because we asked somebody on Fiverr to
Nice.
take a screenshot of like one of the logos that we really liked and put it into Illustrator. That file was terrible. So then we ended up just learning Illustrator ourselves and then going and developing everything from there. So it's been all bootstrapped basically on like the branding and marketing aspect so far.
So, I mean, that's great to hear, and very cool for us who don't necessarily know about like the packaging industry or the branding industry, to get a little insight on that. When it comes to the actual packaging and the material that the chews are put into, is that like an automated thing, or do you guys, buy your packaging separately, and then after you make them at the co-sharing kitchen, you package them as well? I guess what's that process kind of look like?
Yeah, so currently we buy our packaging. Every part of the packaging for some reason still is bought from a different vendor. So like the bag, the foil, the stickers. But yeah, after we make the chews, they're also then hand wrapped and the sticker goes on top and then they go in the bag and they get heat sealed.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
So are you guys taking care? Like, because I referenced the pictures that you guys have in the pitch that we have, which are amazing. From the one with someone pulling it out of their purse to the stuff on the charcuterie board. Are you guys doing all of that yourselves as well?
Yeah, so for the most part, I have been doing photography in the past as well. So I've been doing the photography for the company as well for most of it. We have also had a couple people just interested in taking pictures for us because they just like the company and the product.
Yeah.
So we've also been able to use that opportunity to have a little bit more of our product photography.
Awesome, man. Being resourceful, that's the name of the game in the startup world. So, kind of going into more about the industry and where you guys are kind of carving out this niche, how does the doses, I guess, if you will, I don't know if that's the proper term, but how does that compare to like an average cup of coffee versus the chews that you guys have? Like how do you compare those two?
Yeah, so when we were looking in the industry, we were kind of looking at the average cup of coffee that someone drinks, and that's about 100 milligrams of caffeine. And what we wanted Boosted Juice to be was to be an all-encompassing product where even if someone's caffeine sensitive, they can still use it. So our product doses at around 33 milligrams of caffeine, which is about a third of a cup of coffee. So even if you don't want the whole thing or you're caffeine sensitive, you can kind of choose and regulate how much you want, which is kind of the benefit over coffee or drink.
Very cool. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Kind of gives you the power to know, hey, I need a little bit more, but I'm not trying to have a whole cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And it's funny today. Honestly, this is kind of a side tangent. I'll come back, but I had to run to the coffee store for my girlfriend twice today, and I was like, I could use some Boosted Chews. Maybe I'll slide a little gift for her. And I'm going to the website. You guys, their website, by the way, is in the details. Check it out. You can buy their products. But yeah, certainly something I might be getting into. So when it comes to, I guess, on that same kind of compare and contrast of the average cup of coffee, what does the pricing look like in terms of a cup of coffee versus your chews?
Yeah. So basically, depending on what you kind of get on the website, you can go as down as to $1.65 for a cup of coffee's worth of Boosted Chews, which if you buy retail coffee regularly, that's way cheaper than anything you can actually get.
Oh yeah.
You could probably get a couple of coffee worth of Boosted Chews for like maybe a Starbucks cup of coffee.
Yes.
Yep.
So I don't want to assume, but you guys are coffee drinkers, I'm guessing. Is that part of the journey of this, or?
I drank a little bit of coffee, but Kid can answer for himself.
Yeah, I never used caffeine actually. I was not a caffeine guy whatsoever. But like with Boosted Chews, I kind of realized that I was just one of those like caffeine sensitive people. And so it's helped me like, if I ever need to get through like a long day or anything and I'm feeling a little tired, like I ended up being one of like the perfect target markets.
Yeah, and honestly, I was thinking about that myself. I've never been a coffee drinker, but this is something that I feel like, when you're had an early morning or a late night and the day's maybe a little intimidating, it's like, rather than having a cup of coffee, which, isn't in my nature, having a little chocolate that'll give me an extra boost is nice. What is, when it comes to like I guess the heritage or the history of coffee, what did you guys think about when it comes to, people like to go out and meet for coffee, or it's, something that can usually be social. Do you think that Boosted Chews are not necessarily a replacement of that, but just another opportunity for people to do it, use it as a utility almost, where, hey, I'm needing a little pick me up. I guess, what do you guys think about that when it comes to, some of the tradition of coffee versus what Boosted Chews, might change in terms of how this industry looks?
Yep. Yeah, just like you said, a lot of coffee drinkers drink it as a ritual, as a morning routine, or their lunch routine.
Yep.
And we don't really want to replace that because that's more than just the caffeine effect for them. We're just saying, hey, if you're drinking 3 cups of coffee a day, maybe those second and third ones don't need to be cups of coffees because those are for
Mhm.
the energy. So you can just add on or supplement to your actual caffeine needs throughout the day.
Yeah, that's a great point, and I think it makes a lot of sense. People don't want to be going to the coffee shop every few hours. I think this can kind of solve some of those efficiency problems, if you will.
Yep.
Um, but I guess on a maybe more like a business administrative side is how is the caffeine industry regulated? Is there the same way that I would say alcohol has certain regulations of when it can be served, or is there any red tape around the caffeine industry that people might not be aware of, or things that you guys were surprised about when it came to obviously building out this company and creating this product?
Yes, I think specifically there's not too much red tape about caffeine. It's just you don't really want to be serving too much in doses to people that can get to harmful levels. Currently, with the FDA, that kind of sits at about 400 milligrams a day, which is basically our largest size that you can get. So we're just
Mhm.
confirming those rules. But Booster Juice as a product is regulated as a food product and not a supplement, so we adhere to all of the safety codes that other regular foods do.
Very cool. So, that's good to hear because, you think about obviously this looks like candy. If a kid were to get into it, it's not like it could be extremely detrimental to them in terms of
Yep,
how you guys have packaged it and whatnot, which
yep.
is great to know. So, um, that's good to know. But so now kind of getting into the more I'd say broader market that you guys are in, not just the caffeine industry, but the functional confectionery market. You mentioned CBD in your pitch. Do you see caffeine as being like a nice initial step in this functional confectionery industry where you are looking to expand into that vertical, I guess?
Yeah, definitely. So with expanding into a larger functional confectionery market, really all that entails for us is changing out our active ingredient. And so right now, caffeine is a pretty standard and widespread market that a lot of people are in and interested in. So it's a very easy sell. And with that, we're able to expand our brand and also establish trust with our customers in our brand, as well as like market out and understand the field as well as our supply chain. So once we have all that ready, that kind of helps us expand more into the other active ingredients, such as CBD, which is most likely going to be the next one up on our list, although we have a number of different markets that we're sort of looking at.
Very cool. So, as I asked the question before about some of the regulations or maybe lack thereof with caffeine, what does that look like with CBD? I'd imagine that it's a little more stringent, or there's a little bit more. I don't want to call it red tape, but just things you have to examine when you're considering that market.
That's actually the surprising part right now. CBD, as it is in terms of like manufacturing, is nearly as unregulated as caffeine. Expected times for regulation was going to be around this year until the virus hit. So things for legislation got a little bit pushed back. But with CBD, a lot of the big stuff that has not been regulated is in terms of the extraction processes. So people are basically able to like throw in like butane and like literally lighter fluid in to like extract out the CBD, which is
Oh, wow.
not very good for you.
Yeah.
As well as the categorization into food or supplement. Like Adi was saying before, we are classified as a food, so we adhere to all of the FDA standards for food as well in
Mhm.
regards to like what goes into the product as well as like the manufacturing conditions. But the FDA hasn't figured out whether CBD is a food or supplement yet. So right now it's neither. That was a big thing in quarantine as well. Since it wasn't a food or supplement, they couldn't decide whether it was an essential business or not. So they were neither an essential or essential business. So there's like a whole bit like big limbo there.
Yeah, a
So
lot of gray area. That's really interesting.
yeah,
You answered kind of a couple questions that I was thinking about when it comes to does and maybe I don't know, you could clarify, but it doesn't seem like your production would change that much. Like you said, it's more so the the active ingredients that you guys are using and your distribution channels, I'm guessing, are probably pretty similar.
Yeah, pretty much. We would just be basically on our manufacturing standpoint, swapping out the active ingredient, like I said.
Mhm.
And so there isn't too much complication there. It's much more of a brand and customer integration side on the front end, basically.
Very cool. And, interesting that I guess for you guys that you guys can be that agile, or there's not much deviation from kind of the workflows that you create. But when it comes to, I guess, that time of really jumping into the CBD market, what does that look like from your standpoint? Are you guys trying to accumulate a certain number or a certain amount of sales? Is there a timeline that you guys are kind of expecting to be able to move into that market, or I guess what's your kind of general strategy?
Yeah. So right now, we basically have like two main benchmarks that we're looking at. One internally is that we want to make sure that our caffeine product line is going to be sustainable and like locked down, basically. So being able to reach those large distributors for the big box grocery, as well as getting those online wholesale platforms to just continually have that stability, is going to be very important for us. But additionally, part of the reason why we're waiting is so that those regulations can come into place. At the point where those regulations will likely come into place, we'll be in a position to like properly adapt our supply chain, as well as have like the trust with our customers that we're creating a good, solid product that's healthy and tells you how much CBD
Mhm.
would be in your product, as well as just being able to have the reach. And so those are the two real big things that we're waiting for and working toward.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You want to, like you said, have some stability and that traction that allows you to address the concerns that people might have with having a good product and things like of that nature. So when I guess, and this is something that you guys might be able to educate myself and the viewers on, is where does, I guess, edibles, and people are familiar with that word, whether it is CBD or marijuana. We don't have to get into that, but how does that compare to what you guys are doing? And given that, I don't know if you would call that a similar market, but I guess what is your general opinion, or how does that work into your calculus of what you guys are doing in with your business?
Yeah, so I guess you could technically consider us as like a caffeine edible, although you could
Mhm.
really say that of any caffeinated product. But as far as if we when we eventually move into CBD, the competitive side with edibles there is one, like a trust issue, like I've been saying, just making sure that we are a trusted brand and that people like recognize us.
Mhm.
Um, but on top of that, most of the edibles in the market right now are gummies. There's not really that many like chocolate products that are in the CBD space, and so that would be an interesting place to go to as well. Just in general when we're like transitioning over. Um, and beyond that, it's really just a matter of like technology as well. We've talked to a distributor already for CBD that basically they have like new technology to get like faster, more premium CBD extractions. And so there are definitely going to be technological advancements there that we will hopefully be able to take advantage of as we move more into the space.
Very exciting. So, something that I didn't, talk about was how does the flavors that you guys, come up with? I noticed I think there's hazelnut and you know, different chocolates and mint. What goes into that? Is there, you think of on one hand, like Jelly Bellies. There's hundreds of different flavors, but then you can have some that are just the standards. Where does that come into play when you're looking to expand or kind of diversify the caffeine products that you guys offer? Is there, an upcoming flavor or something that you guys have that you're looking forward to, or is it kind of like solidifying these ones that you have in the offering right now?
Yeah. So when we were originally developing the flavors, we developed each one with the idea that we wanted to bring in a new sort of customer segment that wasn't already being covered by the previous ones. With Hazelnut Crunch, like we had already had like our original like orange hint flavor as well as mint. Hazelnut Crunch, we wanted to introduce like a darker, deeper flavor for those people that didn't want like the bright citrus.
Yep.
And then with Mocha, we also wanted to bring in those people with that just really like coffee and like want that flavor if they're like substituting out something for their second or third cup in the day. So with any future flavors that we're looking at, potentially, if we get to scale hard enough and have the ability, we may do a cookies and cream. That's been widely requested. And potentially like other like little seasonal or special flavors as well. We've talked to a couple companies that may be interested in just doing like a quick like limited time run with us. But beyond that, it's really just a matter of figuring out like what people want and what we don't have yet, so that we can expand our repertoire.
Yes.
Yeah. I was just gonna add on to that and just say, yeah, it's a lot of just being able to talk to our customers and kind of get their feedback on what they're buying, what they kind of want to see from us. We have talked about doing holiday specials, potentially combining our flavors of mint and mocha and doing a peppermint mocha flavor. But yeah, it's a lot just being able to test it out and and learning if they work, if they don't work, and being able to execute really quickly and change flavors.
So and I guess one of the questions that I would follow up with when it comes to those flavors and just the science behind these things, is there certain aspects of creating a flavor or just the product in general that you find more exciting than other parts of it? Given your Aditya, you said you're bioengineering, is that correct?
No, I'm a chemical engineer.
Oh, chemical engineering. So, like, where does that aspect come into the the development of these products? Is it something that you kind of relish when you get to go into the minute details of creating these things?
I think for me personally, what was really cool was when we were still developing this out and kind of figuring out that dosage and doing like the math behind, well, how much does it need to weigh, and then how much stuff do we need to put in, and how's it all going to work out? And if you put too much of this, and now the texture is like that, so that was a cool aspect of what we were doing. Yep.
Nice, nice. I can imagine that can get very tedious, but in some sense very gratifying because you find that just perfect balance between the ingredients or the textures and things like that. Awesome. Well, kind of thinking about or getting to the end of this segment, I wanted to get your perspective on what is an ideal world for you guys? Are you guys looking to build this out and have this company for the next 20 years, or is it something where you're looking to sell? I guess what is the kind of end game that you guys look for? And I know you're focused on the now because that's what is important of day-to-day operations. But if you were able to kind of let your imagination run, what's an ideal scenario for Boosted Chews over the next 5 years or so?
Yeah. So over the next 5 years, first of all, I think we're really looking at an acquisition down the line, and that could either be before we expand into CBD if it makes sense to, or after we start moving into a wider functional food space. It's really up to the like development of a product and seeing where we go. But I know like for me personally, I would be pretty interested in getting back into the biotech space. I think that there are a lot of really cool opportunities there, and with our like backgrounds and our abilities, I think we could succeed pretty well there, as well as potentially nutraceuticals. That's another field that's relatively related to what we're doing now and our majors, and there's a lot of potential there as well.
And you said nutraceuticals, Kit. What can you give a little bit more intel on what that is specifically?
Yeah, so pharmaceuticals are basically creating drugs from synthetic materials or synthesizing them in the lab. So nutraceuticals are taking whole foods, so like existing foods that are just like, things that you can buy at the grocery store, and synthesizing them down into little like tablets or pills that you can take for like health benefits. So it's just a different source of your drug.
Somewhat kind of like a vitamin, but not really.
Yeah, vitamins. There are a lot of vitamins that certainly fall into like the nutraceutical space. And there are also a lot of other applications, and it's a relatively new field. By like 2027, it's expected to hit around like 722 billion as like a market cap. So it's a big growing space.
Yeah, what about you, Aditya? Is there, kind of echoing the same as what Kit said from a standpoint of your 5-year plan, or some of the things that you'd be interested if you guys are blessed to have an acquisition, or have the success you guys are obviously working so hard towards?
Yeah, it's the same kind of goal. We're definitely looking at acquisition. It's just that whether are we going to be a cafe product then or wider functional food product, that's going to change up who we're trying to sell to and how that's going to play out. But yeah, I know me and Kid have talked about other ideas, other cool things we want to do. So this is regardless of how this plays out, this would not be the last thing we do.
Very cool. Yeah, it's there's always the best part about entrepreneurship is every day
Yeah.
you learn something, and it has the potential to lead you to many other great things. With that being said, what kind of wrapping up, I guess, what would you guys? There's two questions I guess I would ask is, what has been the most surprising part of your journey with Boosted Shoes to where you guys are now? What was that? Something that kind of sticks out to you in terms of how far you guys have come.
I think for me, it's really been the wealth of support and the startup community in Madison. It's been like absolutely amazing, just like how easy it is to reach out to anybody like in the space and just say like, "Hey, I'm a student. I'm working on something," and they'll like bend over backwards to like help you out wherever you need. And so it's just been a really great experience, and been working on like passing that down as well. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, that's awesome. What
Yeah.
about you, Aditya?
Yeah, pretty similar stuff. Yeah, just being able to reach out to people. I remember before we ever had a product, we used to go down to some of the chocolate shops on Monroe Street, and they have given us free ingredients, real expensive stuff, and some equipment to work around with just because we were there and talking to them, and we were students here, and we were actually executing. So yeah.
That's great to hear, and obviously it's something that Capital Entrepreneurs is very passionate and loves about Madison, is being able to help others, be resources, network, and really see the ecosystem grow. Because when more people know about what is so great about this city that we all love, it attracts more talent, gives us an opportunity to continue to grow this ecosystem here that's been flourishing over the past 10 years or so. So that's great to hear, and I hope our viewers can appreciate that. I guess the final question that I would ask for you guys is: there any parting wisdom that you would give to aspiring entrepreneurs out there that can maybe give them the confidence to take the leap, or give them some perspective on just what entrepreneurship is?
For me, I would just say like ask around. Like a big part of entrepreneurship is like being in the community and being willing to like talk to people and learn and like fail and just keep iterating. And so make sure that you're going out, asking around, like just talking to people, and it'll get you far.
Awesome.
Yeah, a little bit more on that, just executing and actually doing the idea instead of just talking about it, because the market will tell you whether it's good or not much quicker than you can figure it out yourself.
That's great advice, you guys. I hope all of you that are watching or who will see this, take that to heart. It's you gotta put in the work, but you also can't sit there and overanalyze things. You got to get out there and meet people and just go for it. Really. So I really appreciate you guys joining the Startup Showcase. We've been doing this annually for about the past 7 or 8 years, but now we're going to be doing it monthly. And you guys were the first company to debut this monthly Startup Showcase, and I don't think it could have gone any better or had a better representation of what Madison startups are. You guys are really inspiring, and I'm excited to, like I said, get into a little bit of the boosted shoe market, because I not only can use it myself, but I can help my girlfriend out with that. But you guys are doing great work, and us at Capital Entrepreneurs wish you guys nothing but great success.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. Again, thank you for the time coming on and educating the viewers. For those who are viewing, be sure to check out capitalentrepreneurs.com. It's in our details, but also go to boostedshoes.com and get yourself some of the products, and spread the good word about what these brilliant entrepreneurs are doing. If you do want to hang out for a little bit longer, we're going to be having a test session on Virtual United. You can see the link below in the details as well. It's another startup in our ecosystem that's just going to be doing some testing, and you'll be able to check out the link below. But really looking forward to growing this audience, having you guys give us some feedback, ask questions, and we'll have another great company for you guys coming up next month. So thanks for joining, and we'll see you soon.